If you have difficulty focusing on where to begin on the rhetorical analysis prompt, I would start with these two questions. What kind of tone is the writer using? And how does the writer use ethos, pathos, and/or logos? There are, of course, many other ways of analyzing a text. However, by answering these two questions, you at least give yourself a foundation in which to attack the prompt. The great part about analyzing the tone of a piece of writing is that it forces you to look at the word choices or diction of the writer. Think, who is the intended audience for the piece? And why does the writer use certain words when addressing the audience? There is an array of adjectives to describe a writer's tone, and the more specific you can be at elaborating why a certain tone was used, the better. Analyzing how a writer uses ethos, pathos, and/or logos also gives you a foundation for attacking the prompt. For ethos, think, how does the writer try to build credibility and trust with their audience? Do they list their credentials? Do they employ a tone of humility despite holding a dignified position in their field? Do they give background information on how they have studied something for decades? Do they inject compelling counter-arguments into their message to demonstrate they are fair and well thought out? All these things would be an attempt to build credibility and trust with the audience. For logos, think, how does the writer try to appeal to the audience's sense of logic? Do they use if-then constructed sentences? Are the arguments backed up with statistics and data? Is the message structured well while following a logical flow? For pathos, think, how does the writer try to appeal to the audience's sense of emotion? Is much of the focus on the values and beliefs of the audience? So if the audience is patriotic, does the writer use terminology that appeals to patriotism and love of country? Does the writer use anecdotes or short stories and refer to people's names in an attempt to build empathy? Does the writer paint a harrowing picture of the future, then ask personal questions such as, what would you and your family do in this situation? All these things would be an attempt to pull at the audience's emotions. So when you get your rhetorical analysis prompt, don't fret and ask yourself two things. What kind of tone is the writer using? And how does the writer use ethos, pathos, and/or logos?